Welcome and good morning. I'm so very pleased to greet you on behalf of Europe and Central Asia Community of Practice for Agroecology to this series of dialogues on agroecology schools. Today is Thursday, 12th of January, and it's 10 a.m. CET. We're connecting from different countries and having guests also from India and from Zimbabwe. This event is part of the project Sharing Knowledge for a Stronger Agroecology Movement in Europe and Central Asia. It is hosted by Agroecology Community of Practice, BILIM, and it is built on 11 pillars of Millennium Declaration on Agroecology. Our network promotes strengthening of existing agroecology initiatives, facilitates the emergence of new agroecology schools, and coordinates advocacy work for small-scale food producers' rights. This dialogue series has been supported by the Agroecology Fund and the RITA program. A few words on agroecology schools. Agroecology schools have become strategic spaces of social movements for scaling up agroecology, strengthening the work for food sovereignty and engaging people, especially youth, in agroecology. An agroecology school is not a normal school. It's a school that is self-organized, a safe space where farmers share knowledge and wisdom on a peer-to-peer principle. The school's methodology is rooted in years of experience of the work done by La Via Campesina in the methodology Campesino a Campesina, or farmer to farmer. Being autonomous of governments or formal adult education institutions, agroecology schools bridge the gap between practical and theoretical knowledge, as well as technical and political skills, and provide a platform to unite learning and knowledge sharing with action research and civic engagement. They are holistic and empowering, including two-way learning process between policymakers, researchers, and farmers to build strategic networks that prioritize peasant knowledge and put it at the heart of our food system transformation. So this series has been initiated for our community of practice in Europe and Central Asia, where we're trying to start and support existing agroecology schools. But everyone is welcome, other agroecology groups and networks who collaborate to bring this movement alive in other regions. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our today's guests, Chukki Nanjundaswamy. I'm very happy that it is Chukki who's opening our series, because her work demonstrates possibility for really putting farmers at the heart while reaching out to many other frameworks. Chukki is the chairperson of Amrita Bhoomi, an agroecology school in India, which brings farmers together to fight for their rights and learn sustainable practices. The concept for Amrita Bhoomi emerged from the farmers' movement of Karnataka, which has inspired over 100,000 farmers to transition from chemical agricultural farming to agroecological methods. Spread over 25 hectares, Amrita Bhoomi hosts multiple model agroecology farms, an auditorium that can fit 250 people, and training centers with classrooms. It is a space for farmers to build models of autonomy where they can explore how to restructure food production based on new technologies. Amrita Bhoomi is a hub for the next generation of farmers, promoting zero carbon neutral farming, traditional and indigenous knowledge, and giving a special focus to women and youth. As such, it is a perfect example of how agroecology schools can strengthen farmers' communities and economies for whole territories. Chukki, I'd like to hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Joanna. Am I audible to everyone? Yes. Yeah, okay. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, to everyone. I'm very happy to be part of this series of interaction on exchanges and building the agroecology movement in the world. Well, to start with our experience in India, the agroecology school, which is called as Amrita Bhoomi. Amrita Bhoomi meaning the eternal planet. The whole concept began way back in the early 90s when the farmers of Karnataka, together with other parts of Indian states, started their fight against the WTO. Particularly in the related to the intellectual property rights over seeds and their knowledge, the traditional knowledge. And farmers started, the farmers movement in Karnataka, the KRRS, started its direct action against the transnational seed corporations who were entering into India slowly. So one of them was the Cargill. Cargill, now it is into grain trading, but it had a major role in the seed sector. So after warning them, after serving notices continuously for them to leave the country, when they stayed over, the farmers' movement of Karnataka in the year 1992, on the martyrs' day of Gandhi, took a direct action and ransacked their office in Bangalore. So without harming anybody, it was a non-violent direct action because we believe in non-violence. And it was an effort to give them a message and also give a message to the whole society that we are not, we don't accept transnational corporations to enter agriculture and take over our rights over our own seeds and our own traditional knowledge system. So then after they were constructing a laboratory in the center of Karnataka. Karnataka is one of the states in the southern part of India where we are based. And, in the middle of the construction, the farmers, the activists of farmers movement ransacked and, demolished their laboratory as well. In spite of that, the corporations, especially in the seed sector, in the input sector, in the other areas, they have continued to enter the agriculture sector. And that was the time there was a call for seed satyagraha. Satyagraha, I don't know how many of you know, it's an Indian word which was coined by Mahatma Gandhi. And satyagraha means asserting the truth. So when the British came to India and wanted to tax on salt, which is a very basic need of every human being, Gandhi marched towards the sea and waged a salt satyagraha and started doing their own, our own salt. Similarly, we waged a seed satyagraha where farmers took a pledge of saving their own seeds and they continue to exchange their own seeds among the community. So as part of this movement, there was also a decision to start a center managed totally by the farmers themselves, the peasants themselves, and based on the experience and knowledge of the peasants, and to allow in interaction between different generations regarding the agroecological practices and agroecological principles and how it is a way of life. It was a decision to start a center, and that is that's how Amrita Bhoomi came into existence. So it took quite a lot of years to set up the space and to find the land and so on. So Amrita Bhoomi started working and started taking a shape from, let's say, from the last 8-10 years, more 8 to 10 years. So what we have been focusing on in Amrita Bhoomi is how to build a model of self-reliance and model of self-respect of the peasants, from seed to the market. Because agriculture is in a very deep crisis in India, and farmers have been committing suicide in a very big scale since the neoliberal model was pushed into the Indian agriculture. And it is very important that we try to take control over the whole agricultural system into our hands. So basically, if you look at the farmers in India, like everywhere, we have nothing left in our hands except a piece of land. We have lost our seeds to the big companies. We have lost our traditional knowledge. There was a beautiful knowledge with our ancestors about what to sow for which rain and how to identify the rain and how to deal with nature. And that kind of a beautiful knowledge is totally lost with the younger generation, who who are born after the Green Revolution era, and the whole approach to agriculture is totally changed. Our ancestors looked at the land as Mother Earth, but today is just a commodity. Today is just it's one of the source of production. So everything is quantified and everything is looked at from the point of view of what is the yield per acre. It's just a production source. And also the seeds, in the name of high yielding varieties, in the name of more production for more people. The research in the last 60 years have always been focusing on hybridization of seeds and hybridization of varieties, and recently from the last 20 to 25 years on genetically modified seeds, etc. But we have had our own, seeds which were gifted by nature. We had, there is a record that we had more than 200,000 varieties of rice. We had so many different varieties in vegetables, in millets, and so on. And they were all, they had the natural immune towards drought or floods and the different natural calamities of our pests and diseases. But in the name of growing more and growing the name of modernizing agriculture, we have lost our own heritage. So Amrita Bhoomi has started working on conservation of varieties as a first priority. So, because if you want to reclaim agriculture into your hands, it's very important to start from seeds, because once you lose your sovereignty over seeds, then you lose sovereignty over the whole country. You don't, you totally, become dependent, on others, on other countries, or on other, corporations for your own production, for your own consumption. So as we started working on conservation of seeds, as Joanna was saying, that we have around 25 hectares of land, which is dedicated to build different models of agroecology. which can inspire and motivate the farmers who come to visit the school and take inspiration from the school. For example, we have built models of how to do, fruit orchards in rain-fed conditions, because 60% of Indian agriculture still happens under rain-fed conditions, and it's very important, and especially now with the climate change, rain-fed farming is the area where it's facing a lot of threats, and most of the farmers are committing suicide in the rain-fed farming. And also what the Green Revolution did, and also what the GMOs did, was that they entered rain-fed farming section of agriculture. So BT cotton, which is the only commercialized genetically modified cotton, has entered the rain-fed areas, and from the last 15 to 20 years now, it's dominating the cotton belt. And maize, has replaced all our millet diversity. We had, so many millets. Elizabeth is there from South Africa, from Zimbabwe today, and we have, we in South Asia and in the Middle East and in Africa, most of our food was based on millets. And this is the International Year of Millets. And, we are trying to revive the cropping pattern, and people actually have forgotten how to eat millets, basically. So we are building models of fruit orchards in rain-fed farming, and how to do diversified crops under rain-fed conditions, and vegetable production, and other conservation of other fruit varieties like bananas and papaya and jackfruit and different things. So basically, we are building every year models which are ecologically viable as well as economically viable too for the farmers, because farmers' livelihood is depending on that particular land. So you cannot talk about agroecology in a romantic sense, and you cannot talk about agroecology only from the ecological point of view. You have to also prove that it is economically viable, because this is one of the major arguments of the chemical industry and the agribusiness in total, that agroecology doesn't work because it doesn't yield much, and it doesn't give you enough money, and it's not economically viable. This becomes the responsibility of agroecology schools to prove and to test models and prove that it is economically viable too. And farmers have been living happily, in agroecological, farms, wherever they practice agroecology. And just because it may vary in terms of yield sometimes, I wouldn't claim that we will have double yield and etc. But just because the cost of cultivation reduces, the cost of cultivation drastically comes down, because you stop purchasing anything from the market. You stop purchasing your seeds, you stop purchasing your fertilizers and the pesticides, and then you start understanding your land, and you start building the bond with your land, and that will give an opportunity for you to continuously learn from your own experience, and also learn from other farmers. So the other thing what we have learned what we have understood over the last few years is that there was a fair market for agroecologically produced production. There is a major a mainstream market which is totally controlled by the middlemen, where I don't know how it works in other countries. In India, basically, when you take your produce to the market, your produce is auctioned. The farmer, the peasants, they grow their produce with so much care, with so much, they invest basically all their life in that production, and all their dreams are built over that production. But when you take it to the market, it's very easily auctioned for nothing. Most of the times, it doesn't even fetch your cost of production. So the other, there's for agroecological produce, the other market is the organic market, which is over controlled, which is that you need to certify yourselves to prove that you are an organic farmer. On the other side, it's a joke that chemical farmers doesn't have to prove that they are putting poison, but organic farmers have to prove that they are not using any chemicals and it's totally organic. And it is again a very very niche market for the elite of the society. So agroecology doesn't believe in serving just the elite. Right to food, right to healthy food is the right of all people, starting from the producers themselves. So we after observing all these things, then we decided that we have to build our own markets. So it's not enough that we produce, we have to build our own markets, and we have to fix our own price based on the cost of cultivation, cost of production. And we fix price which is fairer to the producers as well as the consumers, because the so-called organic market is not just exploiting the producers, but it's also exploiting the consumers. How many consumers in the world have access to a good food, healthy food. So we started selling the produce inside the center for our own agriculture workers, people who come from outside to work in the farm. They, at the end of the day, when they go back, they take with a very nominal price whatever fruits and vegetables they require. So we started selling inside the center, and then we started selling around the villages. Then we understood that market is not somewhere which is which is far away, not just in the cities. There is market also here inside. So it's very important to build this solidarity. And then we started our own brand called Namdu. Namdu in our language, in Kannada, which means ours. So the slogan is our produce, our price, our market. So we have started selling it in different forms. We have stores, now in 5 cities, 5 not cities, but small towns. We still don't have stores in the big metropolitan city like Bangalore, but in all these 5 small towns, it is being managed by our farmers activists of the farmers movement. And we are trying to create this as a space for the community around, where we also train or organize events on about sustainable lifestyle. For example, we organize events on hand spinning, to make your own clothes. So we are trying to revive the tradition of hand spinning and hand weaving and block printing. And it's not just about food, it's also about our clothing. And basically to a space to also discuss about what kind of a sustainable life we can build together. Things like that. And when we entered market, what we understood is that, we were only selling raw materials. So then we started training the women in different parts of Karnataka on how to value add to your crop. So there are different ways of value addition, and the value addition gives you a better income. So now we are doing more than 60 products from different crops that we produce. And we are still to improvise on it, and we are still to learn a lot of things from others as well. So this has been the journey of Amrita Bhoomi. And as you already introduced about Amrita Bhoomi, you spoke about trainings and so on. So we have continuous trainings, and this year we are focusing on youth. So we have a memorandum of understanding and agreement with different agriculture schools where young people they get a bachelor's in agriculture. So every year they come and spend at least 3 months in Amrita Bhoomi, and a batch of 30 to 50 students, because we have a capacity to host a group like that. And they learn about community farming, they learn about seed production and seed conservation, they learn about the richness of varieties that nature has gifted us, and they learn about value addition, and they also try help and build the whole space together. So this has been our journey, and I don't know how many more minutes I'm left with.
Yeah, you can speak for a few more minutes, and we can then open dialogue if you'd like.
Okay. Okay. So basically, it's very difficult to get a picture of what is the level of influence, agroecology school Amrita Bhoomi has done, but definitely the point is whoever comes to the school somehow gets connected with the school. Somehow they try to be a supporter of the school. Most of the urban people who came as volunteers during the pandemic, when the pandemic came, the cities all over the world started shaking. Cities got totally disturbed. But on the, we realized that in the countryside, it did not play a much impact. We did not see that impact. And on the other way around, we saw a lot of city dwellers looking for opportunities, because there was a lockdown, and there was most of the people in the cities, especially in Bangalore, which is we have a Silicon Valley where people work in the information technology sector. They were searching for alternative spaces to go and learn farming. So this is something which is not available. If you want to learn agriculture at some point of your life, you have to go to, you are too old to get into the formal courses as students in the universities, or you have to purchase your own land and have your own land and start doing farming. So for a lot of city dwellers, Amrita Bhoomi became a space to come into and stay over and experience agroecology, get a hands-on experience of agroecology. And